Hey guys, Erica with a K here. Today's video is going to be on a foiliyage technique and a full traditional highlight. I am going to be sectioning out this hair. I like to section it in 3 sections. I like to section out the front side, and then I also like to just have the back, just one full section. Because we're going to keep a lot of the darkness, I'm not starting all the way at the bottom. I'm starting kind of in the middle, and this is going to be the foiliyage technique. So traditionally, you can tease the hair for the foiliyage technique, but I'm just kind of going to go in. Make sure you have a lot of tension on the hair, which I didn't in the beginning, and then just kind of feather it up just so that there aren't any harsh lines, and that's the beauty of the foiliyage. Again, you guys can tease it just to make it foolproof, but you don't have to. As I had said, I'm going to be taking kind of like larger sections because I want to keep a lot of that darkness and depth in there. So what I do is I take a large slice and then I just go in and I weave it, and then I highlight the part that's weaved. Again, this weave could be teased, but I'm not going to keep saying that. You just kind of want to feather it up though so that there aren't any harsh lines, and it just is a nice blend. I wanted to do this in the back and just create as much depth as possible while giving as much lightness as possible because I know she wants it very light. Another thing I want to say is that I'm using 20 volume. I am using L'Oreal lightener, and I'm using the Smart Bond, which is from L'Oreal, which is kind of like an Olaplex, and it's just kind of like hair insurance. It just protects the hair. Again, I don't use higher than 20 volume on highlights because I just want it to kind of do its thing, and I just don't think we need to be so harsh and aggressive on the hair. Also, I am going over the ends of her hair. Some of them already have some lightener on it, and some of them don't, but I know the overall look she wanted was lighter and more, so I just kind of want to give her that extra lightness, that extra pop that I know she wanted. As I get higher up on the hair, I have to kind of section this into two because the width of the head just gets too wide to just do one slice across. So what I do is I do a slice and then I kind of weave half of it and then I weave the other half, as you guys can see. As you get further up on the head, I kind of go further up with the highlight or with the foiliyage technique. As you guys can see, it's kind of further up. But as you get higher up on the head, even when you're just doing a full head traditional highlights, you want to make sure that you're feathering it by the head because you don't want to have any of those harsh lines, which happen very often at the base of the head when you're getting over to like the rounder part, like where the head rounds. So you want to just kind of feather that so that it just won't have those hot roots. The lightener won't kind of spill over and just give you those bleed marks, and then you won't have like that weird orange band that sometimes you get when you get when it just gets too harsh or too severe of a line. So you just kind of want to feather that. We are going to kind of gradually get into doing traditional foils here. So as we get higher up, again, you're getting closer and closer to the head, which in turn is making it more and more like a traditional highlight. I do want to say that this is my cousin. She had washed her hair the day before. She has very oily hair. This isn't dirty hair, and even if it was, that is totally, totally fine. But I just kind of wanted to shout out the fact that this is my cousin, and we are very similar in personality, but we are very different when it comes to our hair. She has very oily hair. I have very dry hair. Also, we talk a lot in this video, so that is why she's moving. Typically, on a full head of highlights, I like to start in the back of the head, which is what I did today, because by the time I get through the entire head, some of it's going to have to be rinsed out, and it's just easier to rinse out the back of the head than it would be to do the front of the head. So as we're getting closer up, it's looking more and more like traditional highlights. Again, I am feathering it just so that we don't have any of those harsh lines, because this is the round part of the head. It's kind of where the head, gets super round. Also, when you're starting out with such dark hair, you want to start in the back because you just want to get that maximum lift that you can, and you just don't want it to get stuck in that weird orange phase. So when the back is starting to lift, you can just take her to the sink and rinse it out, and you don't have to worry about wetting any of the other foils and just having them stop the activation process, because that is not what we want. We don't want orange hair. We don't want it stuck in that orange stage. Okay, so now that we're nearing the end of these foils, I'm going to just hop right on over to the front of her head. The reason why I'm doing the front of the head is because most times people want the lightest parts to pop around their face. And so that is why I'm doing the front of the head. If this were a partial highlight, I would have started exactly where you see me starting right now, because I just want to give her the most lightness around the face. You don't want to have light hair and have dark around the face and light everywhere else. You want it to pop the most around the face, and plus that it looks the most natural because that's where the sun hits. So that is the reason why I go right to the front of the head. In the front of the head, I'm doing this as traditional foils. I'm not harshly going and doing a harsh traditional line. I am kind of doing like a foiliyage technique by feathering it a little bit more. Again, just because I just happen to not like the look of traditional foils. And plus, she wants this to look natural. She doesn't want this to look harsh. If she did, we would be doing chunky foils. We wouldn't be doing, nice natural weaves. If somebody asks for traditional foils, this whole thing would be very different, but she wants nice and natural. I have seriously recorded the voiceover for this about 10 times and my mic wasn't working, so I'm not sure if I have already said this or not. But what I'm doing is I'm taking a slice and then I'm weaving into that slice and I'm only highlighting or lightening that little weave that I did. And that just kind of gives the most natural look to the highlight. So there's a slice right there and then I'm going to weave into it and then I'm only going to lighten or highlight that weave, and you can see that there's like gaps in between it, and that just gives for the most natural looking highlight. We can definitely be teasing this and doing more of a foiliyage, but in the front I just kind of wanted to bring it up as much as I could because I know she wanted it very, very light, as I had said a million times. I think, or that may have been in other recordings that didn't come out correctly. So I'm going to be just doing this same technique until I meet the foils in the back of the head. It's kind of like, I think of it as like a mohawk. So you want to do like a mohawk of foils right in the front, and then it's going to kind of meet the back of the head, and you're just going to have a little bit of hair in between. Then I'm going to go on to the side. So the sides can be done last because this spot right here that I'm doing lifts probably the fastest on the entire head. So you don't want to be doing this first. You want to be doing it last because it's pretty much going to be lifting the same amount of time that the top part lifts. So it just makes life much easier. So you might have to rinse out the back first, wait a little while, and then rinse out the rest of the head all together, which just makes it easier. So what I'm doing here, as you can see, is the same technique. I'm doing the slice, then I'm doing a weave, and then I'm putting that foil in. I like to make these foils a little bit smaller just because I have more control over it. So I like to rip the foil in half. As you can see, these are just a little bit smaller, and it just makes it easier because this is just a thinner area of the head. The hair is thinner here, and it just makes it easier to have control over the hair. The whole point of highlights that a lot of people don't understand is to purposely leave depth where you want to keep depth. So this is an overview of an entire full head of highlights. This is very unique to her situation. I left the depth or the spots that you can see. There's foiliyage and there's just some spots that just don't have any highlights on it. I did that on purpose because I knew the way I wanted this to come out for her, distinctly for her. Okay, so this is the after, and you could see where I wanted to purposely leave some depth because it just makes the blonde pop better than having just the full head or a single process blonde. It just doesn't pop as well. This is the before, in case you guys forgot what it looked like, and then this is the after, and then I'm going to show you guys the before one more time just in case you guys forgot, and then this is the after. Thank you guys so much for your love and support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Until next time, work hard, dream big, eat cake.